صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين. And what is a better speech than the one who calls to Allah and does righteous deeds and says, I'm from amongst the Muslims. So now we're wrapping up our trip. We started on the West Coast in Los Angeles. We worked our way to the Midwest in Chicago, and we were on the East Coast in New York. We weren't in the masjids just giving lectures. We're in the trenches with the people. And unfortunately, from our observation, we are not doing nothing when it comes to giving Daa'wa, to invite the people to Islam. The people are on one planet and we're on a whole nother planet. And there's no connection. We got our salat, we got our Quran, we got our masjids, we're good to go with Allah, but the society around us is falling apart. Crack, cocaine, drugs, and coming back from New York, which was really so sad, before I get into what I'm going to talk about. There was a brother in New York telling me, we got to give the Muslims Daa'wa first before we go out to the non-Muslims. And I was saying I heard that before, the brother said it. But when I got on that airplane, and all the Muslims on the airplane, women looked like tramps. Muslim women look like tramps. You understand? So proud of their little Arabic. How could you let your wife come out the house looking like a tramp? Muslims, no covering, nothing. It was sad. It made me want to almost cry to see the condition of the Muslims. Now, back to the condition of the non-Muslims. Okay? I was in Flatbush. They got so many crackheads out there. People walk around with one sock on. Zombies. They walking in the street like zombies. You know what a zombie is? Just tuned out, all the way out there. You can see that many of them is in witchcraft, all kind of things. You think there will be some Muslims inviting them to Islam? Nothing. Zero. Where are we at? What kind of Islam are we practicing? This is what the Prophet ﷺ did. So it's a sad situation. And if we don't get serious with this deen and start practicing this deen and inviting others to Islam, the darkness is going to engulf us and affect your children, your grandchildren, and the rest of them too. They're going to become good kuffar. Yes. Either you giving Daa'wa or you receiving it. Which one? Now we saw some brothers, dressed up Islamically, about 6 or 7 of them. They came out of their car, you can see they was all proud and everything to be Muslim, and they walking in a group down the street. They're supposed to be giving Daa'wa, but they don't have a clue what to do. That's another problem. We got young people out there that want to do this work and give Daa'wa, but they haven't been trained in the field. One want to argue with me, talking about, I said, brother, how long you been doing this? 1 year. I said, you need to shut up. I've been doing this for 1 year, you don't even know what you're talking about. It's sad. They give a non-Muslim a Quran, an English Quran, okay? It's like they giving them a piece of toilet paper to wipe their behind with it. I told the brother non-Muslim, I said, listen, before you read this, wash your hands in your face, and don't take this in the bathroom. Well, brother, that's not the real Quran. The Quran is in Arabic. So in other words, they can do what the hell they want to do with it. They can wipe their behind, throw it in the trash can, because it's not in Arabic. We are sick. Spiritually, we are sick. We think the kuffar are sick. We are sick. We're really sick. And I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I see hope in the youth. The youth are coming out. Some of the youth, you know, they want to give Daa'wa. Who's in the Bronx with some brothers. They're making effort. They just need to be trained in the field. So this is my observation. My observation is coming from the field, not from the masjid. Coming from the universities, the streets. We're in bad shape, brothers, I'm telling you. Better wake up. Wake up with your Islam before disbelief engulfs you or your children or your grandchildren. If it don't get you, it's going to get them. So you got to make an effort. We got to make an effort to spread this deen. Okay? Go right ahead.
Section 1.3. Why is it so important to be an inviter to the Lord of all the worlds? This section is dedicated to sharing what I have learned over the years about spiritual healing for both myself and others. Here, I want to introduce you to why giving Daa'wa is so important for every Muslim, and to help you see the benefit of studying how it is done and why. Inviting people to Allah is the work of all the messengers from Adam to Muhammad.
Okay, so the messengers, they didn't have a 9-to-5 job, or they didn't have 2 jobs. Their job was with Allah. And we're not saying there's anything wrong with having a 9-to-5, but you give more time to your 9-to-5 than you give to Allah. How much time you giving to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds? You know, we should be giving Him more time than we give, you understand, the one who's hiring us. Mm-hmm.
This includes such prominent messengers as Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Jesus.
So this was their job, inviting people to Allah, not to a sheikh, not to a masjid, not to a tariqah, inviting people to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds.
Our job is to reconnect people with their Lord.
Now that sounds simple, but people don't have a connection with Allah. So we need to reconnect them. This is the job. Reconnect people with Allah. You can do that by teaching them Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah. That's reconnecting them with Allah. But do we have time for that? Busy running. In the morning, up running. Afternoon, running. Evening, running. Okay, when are we going to work for Allah? When are we going to put time in with the Lord of all the worlds? Our real job, to invite people to Allah.
Sometimes the world gets us so distracted that we lose sight of what is essential, even our health. This is a significant loss, since our connection with our Lord is the most precious thing we have.
So our connection with Allah, there's nothing more valuable in life than our connection with Allah. If you lose your wife, you lose your children, you lose your house, you lose your money, you understand? You lose your status. If you lose everything, don't lose your connection with Allah.
As an inviter, Da'i, the work is healing for both the patient and the healer.
This is a good point. You think that you only helping somebody else because you're talking to them about Allah. But guess what? It's a healing for you. It's a healing for the person who is inviting someone to Allah, and it's a healing for the person receiving the invitation. Now, most people, when they think about what we're talking about inviting people to Allah, they think about a debate. Jesus is not the Son of God, and you know, that's a debate. Okay? What about a handshake? What about a cup of coffee? What about good morning, good afternoon, good evening? How you feeling today? How's your family? Okay, this is real dawah. All this other stuff, YouTube, and you want to be seen, how many hits you got, and how many shahadas you got, that's foolishness. Okay, that's so important. Now let me take you out in the real world. You understand, with all of that you're supposed to have, and you don't even know where to get started. Don't have a clue. Al-faqat al-shay la yu'tihi. If you lost something, you can't give it to somebody else. We've lost the pulse of the people. We've lost the knowledge of how to transmit dawah to people that don't know about Islam, don't know anything about Allah. This is the job of the messengers. All of the messengers, their job was to reconnect people with Allah. People need, tell this story. I was outside of a masjid. This tall African-American brother is coming down the street moving fast. I said, brother, come on upstairs and hear about Islam. I don't have time for that. I said, brother, only take 5 minutes. I said, I don't have time for it. I said, I'll tell you what I want you to do. He said, what? I said, give me a hug. He looked. He hugged me. He said, damn, that's the best thing that happened to me in the last 10 years. I just got out of prison and nobody showed no love. You see, people are looking for a connection. They're looking for the connection, and we are that connection. But are we amongst the people to be that connection for them? This was important. Even if you go to a coffee shop and drink tea once a week, go to that coffee shop, speak to the people working, how y'all doing? Hey, how's everything? Give them a flyer or something, how y'all feel, how's the family? Go there once a week. That's giving dawah. You don't have to be a super dawah man. You don't have to be a scholar. You just have to have love in your heart for the people, love for Allah, love to want to bring people to this deen. We had that. We had that in the 60s and the 70s. In Brooklyn, people wouldn't walk by you unless they say, hey brother, how you doing? Guess what? 5 days in Brooklyn, on the streets giving dawah, only one West Indian lady in 5 days said, how you doing, brother? One woman. That means we're not on our job. We're not on our job.
It helps us control our tempers and desires.
If you got a temper and you think you bad, go out there in the streets and give dawah. You'll find somebody that'll take a 357 out and pistol whip you till you can't even see. So it will control your temper. It helps you. This work of dawah helps you control your temper. You know, it helps mold your personality. You know, because you want to do something or you want to say something, but you got to be careful. You can't do that. So Allah is molding us when we give this dawah, when we deal with people, we're being molded by Allah.
It helps us control our tempers and desires and develops humility.
That's another story. We're on 47th Street and Broadway, and we're giving dawah selling papers. So this one brother, African American, is dressed real nice, got his girlfriend with him. He's walking down the street, and the brother's going to force a paper on him. He said, I don't want it. He's going to force it on him. The guy pulled out a 357 Magnum, and the brother ran behind the mailbox like this, hiding. And the brother came and said, I should blow your brains out for being so stupid, and just walked away. So you see, you can't play with people with this religion. You can't force it on people. But when you're pleasant with them, when you talk with them, when you show respect, character, this is the best dawah that you can give, is your character, how you deal with people.
And a spirit of service to humanity. Another benefit is that you will come to appreciate how complicated personal problems can be. You may find others' problems affect their physical health until they are tied up in knots. Seeing their problems will help you understand how your issues.
Okay, stop there. Go to the next section. I think we read some of this before here, so we're going to move on.
2.1. Remember, Allah is the ultimate reality. Remember that Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, is the ultimate reality. Naturally, everyone is dealing with their worldly realities. Most of us as wives, husbands, boyfriends or girlfriends, children.
Now, we said boyfriends and girlfriends because that exists. There's some brothers that have girlfriends and some sisters that have boyfriends, but they on the DL, okay? You don't know what's going on, but it's happening. And this is why we should think about marrying our daughters before we send them to these universities. You're sending a pure, chaste woman to a bunch of wolves. And then you can't understand what happens. No, we should think about marrying these girls before they go to these universities to protect them. But the reality, Allah is the reality. Everything else will perish. كل ما عليها فان ويبقى وجه ذو الجلال والإكرام. Everything will perish except the face of Allah.
We have children, mothers and fathers, friends and relatives, work, paying bills, engaging in normal daily activities. All of these things keep us busy with the world.
That's what we call our dunya realities. Our dunya realities. Everyone, we have all of this.
All of these worldly realities are temporary.
Yeah, because these realities is like a mirage. You're going to wake up one day, they won't exist. Your wives, your children, your money, your cars. They had a picture of a mansion. And right next to it was a man laying on a bench. In front of each man was a grave, the same grave. One guy lives in a mansion, another guy is laying on the bench, homeless, and they're going in the same grave. No difference in the size. That's the reality. But we thinking that, oh, this is the reality. My money, my wealth, my status, my education, my children, all of that's going to perish. And Allah is the only reality. That's the real reality. Allah.
Some of these worldly realities can bring us closer to our Lord.
It's true. These realities, if you have a wife, you have children, and you're teaching them Islam, and you're practicing the deen, and you're working fi sabilillah, naturally, this is all ibadah. And Islam encompasses everything. Everything we do in Islam is ibadah. It brings us closer to Allah.
Others can drown us in the well of ignorance.
Some of these things can take us in the opposite direction of ibadah. We always say, if I had money, I would do this and I would do that. As soon as you get money, there you go, off to the races.
Our mothers and fathers won't live forever. Neither will our sisters, brothers, children, friends, and other relatives. When everyone and everything dies, and only Allah, the ever-living, will remain. He is the ultimate reality.
So
this life is short.
Allah is the ultimate reality. All of these things will perish. Our wives, our children, we're going to have to face Allah. This is the real deal that we have to face. We're going to have to stand before Allah on the day of judgment. And our deeds will be written in a book. You know, you can't do that old sneaky move. You're doing this, you know, you Muslim on the top, but underneath, you know, you're shooting some other moves. Nobody know what you're doing. You know, you can't do that with Allah. Kiraman katibin, ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. There's two angels, one on the right, one on the left. They're writing down all these deeds. So you think you slick, you ain't slick with Allah. Can't fool Allah. Allah is the only, He is the reality. And when we realize that, we'll change our attitude. And we'll become more sincere in our obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
50 to 90 years and we die. What happens after that? That's when the ultimate reality kicks in.
You want to know what reality is? Die.
Everything.
وَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. Worship Allah until yaqeen comes to you. What is yaqeen? Al-maut, death. That's when reality will come in. You want to find out where you are with Allah? You'll find out when you die. When Munkar and Nakir come and ask you questions.
Everything in this world is temporary. Allah is eternal. He will never die. Remember that Allah is the only reality. Is it healthy to think others should work in the field of Daa'wa while I concentrate on in-house masjid teaching and university lectures because I'm on a different level than Islamic scholar?
Yeah, this is not good for us to think. Okay, I'm learned, I study, so, I am going to stay in the house and teach Islam in the house, in the masjid, and universities. I'm not going out with the common people. Well, is that what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did? I heard he was sitting with the Sahaba. Sometimes they couldn't even tell who he was. He was so common. But now we want to be elite scholars, elite knowledgeable people, elite this, and we're far away from the common man. No. We need to participate with the common people in affairs. This will help to inspire them. A leader of an army doesn't say, attack, attack, and he's sitting in the background. No. He says, attack. He pulls out his sword. He's in the front with them. In the battle. So, what we're saying is that we all need to participate. Yes, we need teachers. We need leaders. We need learned people. But we need also these people to be with us as common people also. They need balance on both sides.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions were actively giving Daa'wa in the field. Are we better than them? Leaders should be out in front in their actions. This is one of the problems in the world today. Political and religious leaders have a problem not knowing how to connect with the common man. We are all, regardless of our status, need to be working in the field. It will only help to purify us and bring us closer to Allah and will give us understanding of the ordinary people.
Yeah, so if we work in the field, regardless of our status, our education, we work in the field, make some effort to go out sometimes, and it'll purify us, humble us, bring us down to a common level. We need that. We need our people that are responsible and leaders and knowledgeable to be with us. Come out in the field with the old man. Yeah, let's go out there and do something. We do a lot of rapping, a lot of talk, but let's get to the action.
People are in dire need of help, including physical, spiritual, and mental support.
People are sick.
Especially in this day and age.
People are sick, mentally, physically, and spiritually. They need help. We are supposed to be the doctors to help them in their sickness. But we sick because we ain't doing what we're supposed to be doing.
My reality as a child changed when I was 16 years old. I used to say that I couldn't wait until I was old enough to leave home and live on my own. My mother used to say that the grass always looks greener on the other side of the fence. So when I left home, I had to face the many realities of life, like paying rent, lights, cleaning my clothes, and the house. I said to myself that it wasn't all that bad when I lived at home.
So our realities change as we grow. As we grow in age, as we grow in experience, our realities change. and you see things a different way. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-baraka fi ma akabirikum." The blessing is with your elders. Okay? The elders have lived life, they have experience. We need to be with the elders. Okay? But as you grow in life, your perceptions, your understanding of things will change. Your realities will change. And I thought, I couldn't wait to get out the house. But when I got out, I said, hey, it wasn't too bad at all at home. One time my mother said, you working now, you're going to pay rent. I said, what? Pay rent? She said, you're going to pay somebody else when you leave my house, so you might as well get used to start paying now. So old people, they know how to prepare you.
At 21 and 25, even more significant changes happened, and my world began to expand even more. At 27, I left America to study in Mecca. Wow, what a different world. It was like being dropped on another planet. At the age of 33, I returned to America, got married, and my wife began to have children. Now, at 60, everyone is grown. Also, at the first writing of this book, I have 23 grandchildren with someone like.
So we're just stating how our perspective change in life, how we grow as stages we grow from young people to teenagers to young adults to getting married to having children, having grandchildren. Our realities change. Mm-hmm.
Still, my reality is continuously changing as I am living in Medina, in the land of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Understanding Allah being the ultimate reality is becoming clearer by the second.
So the older you get, if you're a Muslim, the more the reality comes to you that Allah is the reality. The older you get. Because these other things, the material things start fading, your health starts fading, you start losing your money. Sometimes your children go crazy, but they ain't going crazy, the grandchildren are going crazy. All kind of stuff is happening. So you really begin to see as you get older that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only reality, and I really need to focus on Allah. That's why Allah said, "Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas." Children need a Rabb, someone to educate them and nurture them. And youth need a ilah, a malik. They need a king because they're off the chain, doing all kind of crazy stuff. They need a king to check them. And ilahin nas is the older people who are busy in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're close to Allah.
Who knows whether we have 10, 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years remaining in our lives.
Now, we're all sitting here from ages, how old are you, Mom? 10 years old to maybe 20, 25, 30, 50, 70, 80. You would say the guy who's 80, he'd probably be the first one to return to Allah. How do we know that? Nobody knows when they're going to return to Allah. So we need to be busy. They say Father Time waits on no man.
I know a beautiful Muslim brother in Masjid al-Nabawi who was over 120 years old. MashaAllah. He prays 5 salats daily in the Haram. He also walks to the Haram daily. Invites to Allah. Remember, our reality isn't the ultimate reality. Allah is the ultimate reality for all of humanity.
So whatever we think our reality is, Allah is the ultimate reality. Okay, realize that you see it, they see it, or he sees it. Everything is according to the way Allah sees it.
Let us be diligent in inviting humanity to the ultimate reality, Allah.
So we are inviting people to the ultimate reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us get busy.
As callers to Allah, we must have our values. And we must understand that people have values too. I can remember hearing my father telling my mother to stay out of my sister's and her husband's business. He said that if they ask for advice, we give it to them, but let them work out their problems. He also said that if her husband hits her, then he would immediately enter their affair.
So we live in a society, people have their own values, their own ways. We should respect that, as long as it's not contrary to Islam. For example, if you come to my father's table with a hat on your head, he would slap that hat off your head. Because coming to his table with a hat is disrespectful. Okay, that's his culture. That's the way he grew up. That's the way he was raised. You know? So we should respect. There's another way of giving dawah, respect people's cultures, their different ways, as long as they're not just contrary to Islam. We have to respect them. Like I grew up in an environment, I have many mothers, because my mother's best friends are like my second and third mothers, okay? So now, if I see them, and they come to hug me and I don't hug them, oh man, I'm in serious trouble. That's culture. Okay, we know we don't touch women, but I have to respect the culture that I come out of. Otherwise, I'm running them away from Islam. You got to use wisdom when you're dealing with people.
Another time, I remember visiting my mother's brother when we were children. I don't remember what happened, but my uncle's wife disrespected my father. He told my mother, if you want to visit your brother, I won't stop you. But if they're going to see me, then they must come to my house and visit me. I'm not going to visit them again. We must have values and stand by them.
So people have values, they stand by the values that they have, respect their values, as long as it's not contrary to Islam. People have values, respect them.
Respect other people's values, even if you don't agree with them. There are personal values, and there are also family values. I can remember when I was a child, the adults used to say children should be seen and not heard.
Yeah, if adults were talking, children cannot be talking in the area where the adults were. They say children, you should be seen and not heard. In other words, shut up and sit down. Respect for the elders. We don't have that anymore.
They used to also say, spare the rod and spoil the child. I remember my mother asking my father to go to church on Sunday. He said, the same God that hears you praying in the church can hear me praying in my bed. The church is full of hypocrites. They go to church on Sunday and come out worse than they were before they went in.
So he used to collect their garbage, so he knew what was in their garbage. He knew exactly what was in their garbage. So since he knew what was in their garbage, he wasn't going up in the church. Alhamdulillah, the day he died, he took shahada in the morning, he died between Dhuhr and Asr. He never made one rakah. So that was a blessing from Allah. But my mother died as a non-Muslim. This is Allah's guidance. Okay?
So when my father did pass away, we said there was one condition, and we'll be together in paradise forever. He asked what it was. I said, the condition is that you believe that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger.
So it's never too late for a person to become Muslim. You know the story about the man that killed 99 people. He said, any help for me? Went to this religious man, said, is there any help? Is there anything that I can do? I done killed 99 men. He said, forget it. There's nothing for you. He killed him too. So he went to another man, he told him, listen, leave where you are and go to another place where there's good people. On the way to that place, he died. The angels of Jannah came to get him, the angels of Jahannam. Allah told him, measure the distance. If he's closer to where he's coming from, The angels of hell will take him. If he's closer to where he's going, the angels of paradise will take him. He was closer to where he's coming from, but Allah made the distance closer to where he was going. So there's hope for everyone. Don't write people off. You know, you don't know who Allah wants to guide.
2.2, stay in consultation or shura. Our beloved Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was known for staying in consultation within his home and amongst his companions in affairs which legislation had not been revealed.
Now, shura is very important. So we need to keep in shura with our families. You know, okay, if you're a man, you make the final decision, but teach them how to sit and have consultation. You know, ask them their advice and have the children become a part of what you're doing so they learn also. You know, we're not supposed to be a pharaoh in our house. You're going to just force people to do what you want them to do. If you don't do it, hit the road, Jack. I get another one. What kind of Islam is that? Consultation. We have a whole chapter, a surah the shura. Read it.
So we should be ensured within our homes, our families, our matches, and our business. Giving Daa'wa should keep us in consultation, always seeking advice for the pleasure of Allah. We shouldn't ever think that our opinion on a matter has more weight than anyone else's.
Yes, and we shouldn't think that what we think about a matter, even if we have knowledge on it, is the best dealing with that particular matter. Have consultation. Maybe Allah will guide someone to give us a different understanding, to see something from another light that will help us make a better decision than the one we would plan on making.
Even if we had,
How much time left for Salah?
15 more minutes.
15?
Yeah.
so even if we haven't given Daa'wa for some years, we must humble ourselves and be open to sure consultation. Many times answers are sent to us through others, but are we listening?
Yes, so many times Allah sends us messages or things through other people, but are we listening? Are we paying attention? A guy came to me, Caucasian American guy, one day, and said to me downtown in Auburn, he said, "What's that across the street?" I said, "Where?" He said, "That big old building over there." I said, "Man, that's the University of Michigan, one of the top 10 schools in America." He said, "I can tell you what they're not teaching." I said, "What'd you say?" He said, "I can tell you what they're not teaching up in there." I said, "What is it they're not teaching?" He said, "Common sense. If you want it, don't go up in there, you won't get it." So you never know who Allah's. It's not that he was telling me don't study there, but he was giving me some wisdom. So don't be so closed that you can't receive something that Allah's sending to you.
Also, encourage people to read scriptures. Encourage people to think good thoughts.
That's another thing. We want to beat people down. You know, there's a guy used to come downtown. Young Caucasian American boy used to come downtown. And, you know, you could tell he was on drugs, on his skateboard. So now one day he comes downtown, he started looking pretty good, you know. He looks different. I said, "Come here, I need to talk to you for a minute." He said, "Yeah, what's up?" I said, "Man, you know, you're doing something, man, because it look like you changing, man. Drop it on me. What you doing?" He told me, "Man, I'm reading I think he said the Bhagavad Gita." I said, "What is that?" You know? Then he started telling me about this, you know, the scripture from the Buddhists. You know? I said, "Wow, man." I said, "You're doing it, man. It's changing you and you're starting to look good, man. Yo, man, stay up on it, man." I didn't tell him, "Man, what? Reading that stupid stuff, man. That stuff done. You turning them off from the beginning before you get it started." So he keeps coming downtown and stuff. I said, "You still going over that place?" "Yeah, man, you know." Then one day he came, he said, "Man, you know, them people, man, something ain't right with them." I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" Then I said, "All right, I got something for you, man. I'm dropping this on you, sorry. Make a long story short, the brother became a Muslim. He made Hajj. He went to Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. Okay? The point I'm making is that we should learn how to plant seeds. You plant a seed, you don't feed a baby steak. You got to give him baby food. Okay? That seed is the baby food. Positive response. Give him something that he remembers you by. Okay? And then the seed will grow. Allah will cause someone else to water it. Before you know it, one guy who came downtown and said, listen, I need to talk to you. I said, well, what's up? What's going on? He said, can we have a coffee? I said, yeah, let's go, man. He said, listen, I've been seeing you out here for years in the cold weather, the hot weather. What are you about, man? I said, well, let me put it to you very simple. I'm about anything positive. If it's negative, I'll get back with you. I have a PhD in negativity. He said, man, I like that, brother. Wow, man. Yeah, you know, we sat and then I asked him, what do you do? He said, I'm an engineer, this and that, and this and that. He said, man, I'm sure glad I talked to you, brother. A year later, this guy walked up to me and said, Assalamu alaikum, brother. I'm like, huh? Wa alaikum salam. He said, I'm Muslim, brother. Somebody else watered, Allah watered that seed, and he took shahada with somebody else. So this is the key. Planting seeds. Not debating, going on YouTube, bragging how many shahadas you gave. No. That's not giving good da'wah.
The mind also needs wholesome stimulation. So feed the mind, the heart, and the soul.
The mind, heart, and the soul needs to be fed. Mm-hmm.
And as the verse that says, it has already been revealed to you in the book, this Quran, that when you hear the verses of Allah being denied or mocked at, then sit not with them until they engage in conversation.
So if they're mocking Allah and saying bad things, don't sit with them. Remove yourself from these type of people.
A wise
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Do we have any questions or someone would like to add? Yes.
Sure. I have a question after having not seen you for so long.
Right.
If you could give us some nasiha, and if I could just say a few words. There are brothers in the room right now that I haven't seen in a long time. From time to time, Allah dips us in the ocean, I'd like to say.
Right.
I see it kind of like we fish in the stream here, you know, it gets hectic.
Right.
But Allah gives us a taste from time to time when we see each other's company. I just mentioned the brother Jalil. It feels like there's a barakah when we see each other because some of us go way back.
Right.
So with what you said, truly to see you come back here and still be foot soldier, it's a reminder to us. But if you could speak to something that's more insular, like to the Muslims, we have different factions. We have things that divide us.
Right.
We have situations, personal things, community things that keep us in our silos. If you could speak to give us some words of nasiha that's internal, like to speak to our what divides us and separates us. Being that Allah says, hold fast all of us to the rope.
Right.
And then with that, we know each individual has an obligation to Allah, but to speak to our obligation to each other as Muslims.
Right.
You know.
So what I was going to advise is that, have you ever seen anybody die, wash their own body, shroud themselves, pray the janazah on themselves, and bury themselves and put dirt on themselves? Have you ever seen that?
No.
So that lets you know Islam is a community religion. You can't practice this deen on your own. There's no individual. I mean, yeah, we respect individuals, but we have 5 salats and we're supposed to be praying together. So I would advise, wherever you are, brother, find a community that you can be a part of where you can grow and develop within that community. I was just in the Bosnian community in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm very proud of them brothers because they're working together, and there's other ethnic people in that community. They're working together, they're marrying their daughters to their different sons, and some of them are Hafiz al-Quran, and some of them are sending their children overseas, and many of them are studying in the universities. They establish it. Find a community that you can go to and grow and develop within that community, that you can make a contribution and help that become a better community. Or start a community with a few brothers and work on that. We need each other as Muslims. You know, look what's going on in the world today, how they're killing our men, women, and children in Palestine. You know, it's a shame. So we should be working together as Muslims. Okay, we got all these differences. Okay, but the differences shouldn't stop us from being brothers to one another, to making salat, taking care of one another, looking out for each other's families. Islam is bigger than all of us, and it's bigger than all of our groups, and it's bigger than all of our imams. Inna deen in Allah Islam. The deen with Allah is Islam. It's not with the Pakistanis, with the Arabs, African Americans, the Indians. It's the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to get on board with the deen of Allah and establish something. We need to be and establish something. You know, brothers die and they not part of nothing. And the mother, she decides she's going to bury them. Christian brother, one of our brother Imran died, and they put a kufi on him and took him in the church. I said, I ain't going up in that church. If I go up in that church, I'm going with my 12-gauge shotgun. And I'm going to take my brother out, and we're going to make janazah on him and bury him. Okay? So what I'm saying is we need to be in a community or with a group of people that we can practice this deen. It's not individual. So find a group, find a community, or establish something yourself. Because you're not going to live forever, Aki. So that's my advice. Find a community or find something or develop something where you can practice your deen as a jama'ah. And we respect leadership. You know, it's another thing. We got a problem respecting leadership. We should respect our leaders. That's one thing we had in the Nation of Islam. We followed instructions to the T. But now they don't want nobody to tell us nothing. I do what I want to do. That's why it's total chaos. Yes.
Sheikh, many of us are hesitant to call people to Islam because we feel like we don't have a place to bring them to, or we feel like we're delivering the sick person to the hospital, there's no one there to care for them.
Right.
What's your advice for those of us who are hesitant to do the work because we're afraid of what will happen after?
Okay, so yes, that's a good point and a real concern. So we need to develop a family or community in giving Daa'wa where we put these people in our families. And then we take care of them. Like you got Abu Bakr family, Umar family, Uthman ibn Affan family, Ali ibn Abi Talib family, and then you take care of them when they come in your family. You know, even if the messages are going crazy and things are happening, you're afraid to bring them there, you have a family to take care of them. So develop families. That's my advice, to develop families. So, you know, you can bring people to Islam, but keep them in the family, keep them with you. Let them move with you, how you move, you know, how your group moves. You might want to go to different masjids at different times. You may not just want to be tied to one particular masjid, okay? So you keep that brother or them people with you as you move and teach them as they're going along. So they'll be able to see what's happening, because there's a lot of division amongst us. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on that's really not good, and then you're afraid people are going to see that. So we could develop some type of families that we can bring them in that family and keep them with us and grow them Islamically. That's my advice on that. But don't hold back on calling people to Allah, because we crazy as hell. Muslims. We doing some crazy stuff. They got some masjid in Chicago now, they done changed the Qibla. Okay? And then they done changed the Qibla, and the guy whoever supposed to be in charge now, he just come out of the street smoking marijuana, saying he working with the feds. All kind of crazy stuff going on. So this is reality. There's a lot of stuff going on that's crazy. You know, and some people don't want to bring people to Islam because they don't want them to be affected by this craziness that's going on. So I say develop families. Develop families and take care of that brother or that sister in that family. Let them grow in their deen and develop. Until we can find a place where you can find a comfort zone. You know, they even got some people establishing the places they call a third zone. I heard about this. You know, they don't feel comfortable in the masjid, so they have their own zone. You know, so all kind of stuff is going on, but we should still, you know, people need to know about Allah, they need to be brought to Islam. So develop families to help them when you bring them in, so they feel comfortable and a part of what you're doing. Anyone else? Yes.
Back to when you started your speech.
Yes.
Which is important to give da'wah first to Muslims or to non-Muslims?
Allah said, "Qu anfusakum ahlikum nara." Save yourself and your family from the fire. So start at home. Charity starts at home and spreads abroad. But every day you're going to work. Every day you're going to the grocery store. Every day you're amongst non-Muslims. So why not treat them nice, respectful, and let them see a good face of Islam? Okay, so even if you focus on your family and those that are close to you, you're still dealing with non-Muslims every day. Because everywhere you turn, there's a non-Muslim. Everywhere. Okay? Everywhere you turn, there's a lady with pants on so tight it's 3 sizes too small. Yeah, everywhere you turn. So let our character, you know, be Islamic character and be open for people regardless. So yes, invite your families first. You know, those who are close to you, but still, as you're dealing with people, be open to invite them to Islam also. Yes.
So for a lot of people, their primary exposure to non-Muslims is at work.
Right.
And other than that, they might not know many people.
Right.
And then in like professional settings, it's like very hard to bring up religion and
See, that's the
they end up
point.
never doing it.
We're not talking about teaching religion. We're talking about having a coffee with a person. We're talking about sitting with a co-worker and say, how's your family? How's your children? How's your mom and dad? What's going on? How's life? We're talking about being human beings with them. You know, we're not in touch with them like that. They're Christians, they're non-Muslims, we're Muslims. How you doing? Go to work, huh? Have a nice day, have a nice day. There's no relationship. We're talking about developing a relationship with people. We're not talking about preaching Islam on the job.